Okay, good morning everybody, and I hope everybody's well rested after last night. I also hope you enjoyed yesterday and you got to learn a little bit more about Laguna Phuket and the size and scale of it and the amenities and the facilities. So today we're going to take you into some more detail and talk about some of the mega trends that are happening, what are those trends and how is that driving the property market here in Phuket. Then we'll give you some more detailed information about the property market in Phuket, where are the most popular areas, pricing and so forth, and we'll show you our portfolio that we have here in Phuket, which is a comprehensive range of properties from all price points, which I think has served us very well over the last number of years. Then we'll talk about the size of our land bank, what we have yet to unlock, and I'll give you some key data points of what we've unlocked already in terms of our real estate portfolio in Phuket, and I'll compare that to our hotel assets, and you'll be quite surprised in terms of the differences and the significance. And then finally, we will introduce you to Lakelands and talk about some of the key features and amenities, unique selling points, and the master plan. And hopefully, after all of that, you'll have a very, very good understanding of what we're about, and hopefully then you can go and spread the word and create awareness amongst your communities about this great value proposition. So just to recap, these are the things we're going to go through today. But maybe I'll just start out and I'll just show you a short video about Laguna Phuket, which will hopefully reinforce and recap some of the things and learning points from your experience and your journey yesterday.
Welcome to the magical world of Thailand, a country that beckons you with its incredible climate, unrivaled hospitality, and stunning scenery. From the mystical mountains of Chiang Mai to the idyllic islands of the south, it captivates your senses and steals your heart. And if you're looking for a place to call home, there's nowhere better than Phuket, the pearl of the Andaman Sea. With an enviable climate, advanced infrastructure, world-class healthcare and education, endless entertainment options, and high standard of living, it's easy to see why Phuket property is in such high demand. Nestled on the highly desirable west coast of the island is Laguna Phuket, a multi-award-winning integrated resort destination with over 30 years of trusted heritage. Since 1984, Laguna Phuket has established itself as the island's premier and most reputable developer. Emerging from its humble origins as an abandoned tin mine, the transformation of Laguna Phuket into Asia's almost all-in-one destination resort is testament to meticulous planning and unwavering dedication. Awaken each morning to the breathtaking beauty of the pristine sands of Bangtao Beach, or lush tropical lagoons within vast open spaces and a picturesque natural environment. All ideally located within a neighborhood of upscale communities and myriad international dining and shopping choices. This is a lifestyle opportunity like no other. With the introduction of the BDMS Wellness Center at the impressive mixed-use Canal Village, you'll have access to world-class medical and rehabilitation services, anchoring Laguna Phuket as a leading hub for medical tourism in the region. Launched in 1992, Step Up International Laguna Kindergarten brings a holistic and immersive approach to early years education. By emphasizing community learning with a cross-cultural perspective, Silk is creating global citizens of the future. In addition to these exceptional amenities, we organize a variety of engaging events throughout the year, which further build the feeling of connection and community. Listed on the Stock Exchange of Thailand and Singapore, our group stands out with a distinctive approach to growth. We firmly believe in fostering connections promoting well-being and embracing sustainability by developing projects that respect and honour the natural environment as well as the local community. And when you're ready to make Phuket your home, we have an array of property options at Laguna, catering to diverse budgets and lifestyles. From luxurious beachfront villas and penthouses, impressive contemporary single houses and townhomes, to condominiums with stunning views of the seaside, lagoon, or mountains, we have the perfect choice for you. Our commitment to service extends far beyond the initial purchase. We pride ourselves on offering an exceptional one-stop solution for all property owners. Our dedicated multilingual team of experts is always available to assist you with your day-to-day needs, so you can rest assured that your home is well taken care of and that you have a hassle-free experience from day one. As a property owner at Laguna Phuket, you automatically become a member of the Sanctuary Club, part of Banyan Tree's prestigious network. The club offers extensive privileges, generous discounts, and benefits across the group's properties worldwide. Through our exchange program, managed property owners can trade a portion of their annual usage entitlement for discounts and special offers at participating properties within the network. Enjoy the convenience and perks of membership, enhance your lifestyle, and explore new horizons within the ever-expanding world of Banyan Tree. At Laguna Phuket, we're committed to sustainability and enriching the lives of our residents and guests. So step into a world of unparalleled luxury and join our esteemed community, where paradise becomes home.
Okay, so thanks, and hopefully that put Laguna and our property value proposition into some context. So now I'll go into some more details as I explained earlier. So I think one of the big things that we're seeing at the moment is one of the mega trends is a global migration phenomenon. And we can see here that Phuket has become a leading hotspot, not just for a place to visit for a holiday, but now more so for a place to live. And there's a number of factors driving that, which I'll get into later. So you've got key demand generators such as geopolitical lifestyle, education, urban flight, retirement and investment. And depending on which market, there might be different of those factors that are driving the demand, and also depending on the individual as well, as to why they're choosing Phuket. So just to put that into some context as well, over the last, from the period of 2013 to 2019, and this is talking about millionaire migration, high net worth individuals, there's been an increase of over 100%, and that trend has continued, and even in 2023, the trend was going to be a record year for the global migration of millionaires who are seeking a better lifestyle and an alternative to their home country. And that's also backed up with the Thailand Elite program, which they have specifically here in Thailand to provide a long-term stay in Thailand as well. And you can see that their membership in the last couple of years has increased 100%. So particularly post-COVID, it's really ramped up, which also backs up this high demand for people seeking a better life and a destination to live. Now, in addition to the Thailand Elite, Thailand's also got a number of other visa programs. So Thailand Elite is obviously a cost to pay for that, and it's a reasonably significant cost. But last year, or 2022 actually, the Thai government also introduced a long stay visa program for people seeking residency as well, up to 10 years. So again, this targets high net worth individuals, whether they be retirees as well or pensioners. Also highly skilled professionals, so they've got a skill which is valuable to Thailand, and also includes their spouses and dependents. So this one is a much cheaper cost. You have to go through an application process, but it's another alternative means in which to come to Thailand, which again is a really good point of differentiation. And then of course, there's the normal retirement visa and education visas, which are 1 year, and that's at a much smaller cost. So what are some of these key factors and trends for people buying? Well, the first one, accessibility. And as I mentioned yesterday, Phuket is within 5 hours to 8 hours, you've got 40 to 60% of the world's population. And Phuket has direct flights from 70 cities worldwide. So if I compare that to, say, Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok, which is a major, major airport and international, that's got 130. So relatively speaking, Phuket punches above its weight. If I compare to, say, Bali, which is, I guess, the second most popular beach resort destination in the region, that only has about 50. So Phuket has superior air access. In terms of geopolitics, I think we've seen the world become much more unipolar now. There's an east and west tensions, and I think that's also driving people seeking a better lifestyle and a better place to live. So as we know with the conflict in Ukraine and Russia, those geopolitical tensions, we've actually benefited from that because of the sanctions that have been imposed. It means that there's limited options for people to go. So Phuket, Thailand, and I guess Dubai to a large extent, has particularly benefited from the sanctions that have been imposed by the West on the Russian population. And we're seeing, further of those sort of geopolitics that are occurring over this period of time, which is very unfortunate. But I think Thailand's a very welcoming country. It's a stable country. So I think people seek that out in terms of a choice for making Thailand their home. Another important factor has been urban flight. So particularly during COVID, where in a lot of the large urban centres, there were lockdowns for long periods of time and people were stuck in their houses. They couldn't leave their houses. We had colleagues in China who were locked in their properties for, I think, nearly 3 months. So a lot of these urban centres, there's been a lot of frustration being stuck like that. So Phuket was seen as a safe haven because Phuket, whilst we had our international borders closed for, I think it was only about 3 months, Phuket initiated the Phuket Sandbox, which was, I guess, pioneering in terms of opening up tourism again to the world. And life here in Phuket was fairly normal, and it was very pragmatic, the approach that the government took. So you could still go about freely, you could go and have a meal, you could go to restaurants and so forth. So life was very normal here during those lockdown periods during COVID. I think another important factor in terms of urban flight is also in large cities where you experience high levels of air pollution, people are seeking a better life where it's less dense, they can enjoy clean air and so forth. So I just had a friend that messaged me this morning who was in Bangkok, and he was leaving Bangkok today even though he's based in Phuket, and he was saying the air pollution index was quite high. So I think that's another factor in terms of urban flight. Cost of living. So we've all experienced a high rate of inflation globally over the past 2 years. But Thailand, again, has a great value proposition because you can live relatively affordably here. So I think I mentioned yesterday, international school fees here are cheaper than what you'd have in the major cities. You can buy a Toyota Fortuner SUV here for about $40,000 US. You want to buy the same car in, say, Singapore, it's $140,000 US. So there's a big difference. Healthcare is another one, which I think I mentioned yesterday. It's very affordable in Thailand and it's world class. And of course, finally, just food and so forth. You can eat in nice restaurants here and you can spend money, but you can go to Boat Avenue just out the front of Laguna Phuket on a Friday night, and for $10 to $15 you can have a feast of Thai street food. So it's very affordable, and that's another unique value proposition. I think another thing that came to the fore during the COVID period was remote working. So with the advent of Zoom and so forth, where people couldn't travel, and this has been adopted, and we've seen a lot of people adopt this sort of lifestyle now. And again, this is important because where you have to travel for business, if you can do some of your work through Zoom and applications such as that, you save time, you get to spend more time with your family. I know just for me, if I'm going to Bangkok, it will take half a day in terms of getting up, going to the airport, waiting for the plane, travelling to Bangkok, even though it's an hour away, and return. So you waste about half a day, whereas, if you've got the convenience of remote working, you can be much more effective, I guess, with your time, which then allows you to spend more time for yourself or with your family and so forth. I think the other thing here in Phuket is the high-speed internet. So you've got relatively low-cost, high-speed internet, which facilitates that. And then the last one is lifestyle and well-being. So well-being has really come to the fore, particularly post-COVID, and people are much more conscious of their health and their well-being. And again, Phuket offers world-class healthcare, a lot of wellness facilities. And I think in terms of lifestyle, whether you're a retiree or even have a young family, and I've been in Phuket for over 20 years, and I've been through having a family here, raised a family here, and I think I was speaking to a number of you yesterday, and one of the points I was making is your children can have a real childhood here. You can experience a real childhood. It's safe and secure, as opposed to maybe in some of the big cities where you seem to be, you're really concerned about letting your children go out and whatever because of safety concerns and so forth. So I think that's an important factor. Also, your children can become global citizens when they're brought up here, which is, I think, a really good thing for them to have and make them much more aware of different cultures in the world. And of course, now I'm in the transition phase, and now I'm an empty nester. My children have been raised here, they've gone back to Australia, and I live here, and I enjoy, whilst I'm still working here, a very nice life. And post my working career, I'd also like to retire here and stay here. So I've been here, I've experienced it, and I think, and a number of other people, even our chairman has moved here now. So I think that, that's testament as to why Phuket is a great place to live. In terms of the Phuket property market, so particularly if I compare pre-COVID, where it was a reasonable sized market but not a huge market, to post-COVID, and particularly in the last couple of years, it's increased 3 times since COVID. So in terms of the demand, and I think that's been driven by all of those factors I mentioned before. If we're looking at land prices, particularly prime land prices in Laguna Phuket, we've seen in the last 2 years the prices go up exponentially. So they've almost doubled in a very, very short period. So that's also driving the market and driving prices. And from a longer term perspective, just to give you an example, so if you bought a 4-bedroom house in Laguna Village, back in 15 years ago, its value, the value of a 4-bedroom house now in Phuket, has appreciated or gone up by about 150% in those 10 years. So it's equivalent to about 10% per annum. So whilst the land prices have gone up very significantly in a short term, over a long-term sustainable basis, there's also been steady growth and capital appreciation. In terms of the market, the types of products, the market is currently dominated by condominium type products, and that's largely driven by the fact that the land prices are high, and so for developers, they need to yield something out of the high land price. But it's also driven by the fact that I guess the market is quite diverse now, and you've got the emerging middle class in Asia who are looking for a more affordable product, as opposed to maybe pre-global financial crisis in pre-2008, where you had the market dominated by Europeans spending very high amounts of money on villa. So there's been a transition and a shift, I guess, in terms of Phuket's development. Pre-global financial crisis, very much 70% European buyers, large villas, $1 million plus. Post-global financial crisis, with the advent of low-cost airlines and budget travel, and opening up the opportunities to the big Asian population, we've seen almost the inverse. So now 70% of the visitation and so forth from Asia And from those emerging markets, people looking for a more affordable option, and hence why there's still a large amount of condominiums and it dominates the market. However, the villa market has started to increase again since COVID because of these people seeking migration to Phuket on a permanent basis to make Phuket their permanent home. So we have seen a rise in the number of villas more recently. And lastly, the luxury segment is also re-emerging. So again, post-global financial crisis 2008, where the market really was dominated by the emerging middle class in Asia and seeking an affordable option, what we've seen very recently where people seeking to make Phuket a permanent home, particularly from high net worth individuals, is the re-emergence of the luxury segment. And to put that into some perspective, I would say pre-COVID, maybe 2/3 of our sales were in the sort of the affordable mid-scale segment, 1/3 was in the upscale luxury segment. But now the balance has realigned, so it's about 50-50. So now we're seeing the emergence of luxury again, and I think even just this month, I think we're on the 1st of February today, yeah. So last month actually, we saw about 2/3 of our sales in the luxury segment. And of course it's high season and so forth, so you've got very much more affluent people around. But I guess the main point is that there is a rebalance, and it's probably a 50-50 split at the moment. Another interesting fact here, if you look at the branded residences, so in Phuket there's branded and non-branded, so branded such as Banyan Tree and Angsana and so forth, where you've got hospitality brands behind the real estate. Phuket is a number 4 destination worldwide. So it really is up there in terms of the branded residences segment as one of the most desirable destinations in terms of not only completed supply, but future supply. And if you look through that list, about 2/3 of those locations are in emerging markets, such as in Asia. So in the branded residences segment, it's the emerging markets that are growing most rapidly, Asia and the Middle East, whereas the historically established markets, they're much more stable. So where are people buying in Phuket? The central west coast, which covers Bang Tao Bay and Kamala, this accounts for probably about 50% of the total market, right? Because it's the most prime and exclusive area. So this is where the majority of prime properties are located. And the west coast of Phuket has all the best beaches and great sunsets. The east coast of Phuket, which is Phang Nga Bay, doesn't have beaches as such. So the west coast is the most desirable area, and the west central coast, where we're located, is the most exclusive area. And so why is that? So the beaches, as I mentioned, accessibility. So it's very convenient and accessible to the airport, 20 minutes. All the facilities you've got here on your doorstep, just out the front. You've got the Boat Avenue and Central precincts. Nearby, about 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, you've got a Robinson's big shopping mall that's just opened as well, so you don't have to go all the way into Phuket town. You're reasonably close to all the schools, and as I said, some of the international schools are actually now in this area because they're aligned with the demand for property here, and this is where their sort of population base is for the students. So in terms of what $1 million would buy you in real estate, I think this is an interesting little chart, and what it basically tells you is if you look at all of the, I guess the big cities and the most popular, you don't get much for $1 million. You get less than 50 square metres, and in some places, probably only 20 or 30 square metres. Phuket, and I'm talking about prime real estate here, right? For prime real estate, something like an Angsana or Ocean View, a branded property, you'll get 150 square metres to 170 square metres. right? So the price point is relatively affordable compared to a lot of these destinations. So price points vary depending upon location, branding, and the price segment. As I said, there's a broad range of price segments. So in Phuket, it ranges between starting from about just under $5,000 per square metre US, and you can go up in excess of $10,000 per square metre US. But I think this is an interesting takeaway. You get a lot more bang for your buck in terms of space of prime real estate compared to many other locations in the world. And again, just to point out, in Dubai, you'd probably get only 100 square metres. So Phuket, you're getting 50% more relative to a place like Dubai. I think this is also an interesting fact to point out, which is Banyan Group. In terms of the branded residences segment, it's a number 5 brand globally. So it's behind all of the big players there, the Marriotts, the Four Seasons, and the Accors, and so forth, and the Hiltons. And it's the number 1 ranked Asian brand as well. So I think that's also very significant to point out. So just to, I guess we highlighted this yesterday in terms of our global real estate portfolio. So we've got about 4,000 completed and sold units that have been developed and sold, and there's another 9,000 in the pipeline. And obviously, having Asian roots, a lot of those obviously within Thailand and approximately 3,000 in Laguna Phuket itself. But excluding Thailand, there's another 6,500 at various stages. And the rest of the world, I think this is going to be a growing area as well as we expand our global footprint, just like we are on the hotel and resort side, into Europe, the Americas, North Africa, and the Middle East. I think the same will follow with the real estate side eventually. So where are our property owners from here in Laguna Phuket? Almost half from Europe. So again, we had those two sort of key phases pre-global financial crisis where 70% would have been European, 30% Asia. Then post-global financial crisis up to COVID, it was the inverse of that. And now there's a relatively relatively even balance. So Russia is currently the most dominant market, and they account probably for about 35% of our existing owners. Followed by China as the second largest market, about 15%. And then you have the likes of Thailand and the UK. So we have a lot of Thai buyers also come from Bangkok. Thailand and the UK, probably about 10% each. Singapore, Hong Kong, 5% each. And then in addition to that, we've got emerging markets such as through the Middle East. I think India is going to be another one. It's at the very initial stages. But again, I see the similarities to China, where you've got a huge population base, a huge emerging middle class, and the cost. Most people that buy here buy and hold for the long term. Over 80 countries, over 70 nationalities. So I think we've got a very diverse range of owners here, and I think that is good for the community and good for the environment. And again, as you can see here, everybody's very friendly, everybody gets on, and so forth. So one of the unique value propositions that we have for people buying a property from us as a developer is our owner benefits. And I think these stand out compared to most other developers. So the first one is our Sanctuary Club membership. So this is a unique program we have for property owners. So most hospitality brands would have a frequent guest type program for their hotel guests. We have a program for our property owners. So basically that allows our property owners, and it's a free membership, so they don't have to pay for it. So with the property that they purchase, they get a Sanctuary Club membership, which then gives them global discounts and privileges throughout the worldwide Banyan Group network. The next point is deferred payment. So one of the things that we can bring as a developer is we can offer deferred payment terms up to 5 years. So this really allows people to manage their cash flow when they're purchasing a property. So if you choose a deferred payment option, you pay 50% during the course of construction, and you can pay the balance of the 50% up to 5 years. Almost all the other developers, you have to pay the full amount during construction, and in many cases, you have to pay 50% by the time they start construction. So it's a big impost from a cash flow perspective. So I think that's one of our unique points that we can offer to buyers. Hospitality services, so again, because we've got the resort here and we've got the hotels here, we can extend those hospitality services to our residential projects. So we have, we can offer property management services and so forth. So I guess on the asset management side, you can see all of the common area around Laguna Phuket, it's all maintained by us, which provides control and consistency. And then additionally, as an individual property owner, then we can also provide individual property services to the owners, such as pool cleaning, landscaping, pest control, preventative maintenance, and so on. And if you're not living in your property and you only have it as a second home and as a vacation home, and you want to defray some of the costs, then we can also rent it out for you to generate a passive income and a return, so you can defray those costs. And some people spend little time in their property and have it as an investment. And if you rent your property out, particularly during the high season period, a 3-month period, December, January and February, you can pretty much make a good yield, a 5% yield, just in those 3 months, versus a long-term rental, which you could make a similar yield, but you're restricted maybe from using your property when you're renting it out on a long-term basis compared to when you rent it out over that peak period. So that's another important point. In terms of the amenities, I think you learnt yesterday all the amenities that you have on your doorstep. So Laguna Phuket, and I live here and I've lived here for 20 over years in Laguna Phuket. I've got everything on my doorstep. I can walk up to the park areas, Canal Village. I can walk up to Boat Avenue. I'm on the golf course, so I can go to the golf course very easily. So everything is self-contained and very accessible, and so I don't have to go far. And I guess one of the other benefits is golf memberships. So with properties that we sell above a certain value, you get a golf membership. So it'd be either a 5-year golf membership, and the luxury and the upscale properties, you get a full golf membership, which is attached to the property for the lifetime of the property. So when you resell your property, that membership transfers to the new owner. So these are the Sanctuary Club worldwide discounts that you can see here. So on hotels and resorts, if I want to go and have a holiday in Banyan Tree in the Maldives, I get 30% off the room rate. I can call our multilingual concierge after sales team and actually make my reservation through them. I don't have to go and call the hotel in the Maldives or email the hotel. It's all centrally coordinated. If you're playing any of the golf courses we have in Phuket, Vietnam, in Langkawi, Indonesia, and you're not a golf member, so you don't have a property which has a golf membership attached, you get 30% off the golf green fee. Obviously, if you have the golf membership, then you just pay a very notional amount for the caddy. Off food and beverage and spa, so I go to Banyan Tree in Bangkok and I want to go to Vertigo restaurant, I get 25% off my food and beverage. I decide to have a spa afterwards, I get 20% off the spa. In-house tours, such as Laguna tours and so forth, 15%, and similarly with the gallery merchandise, another 15%. So these privileges apply throughout the global network of Banyan Group. So very unique. In terms of some of the destinations then that you can discover and explore, so in Thailand, and this isn't comprehensive because as I said, we've got close to 100 resorts by the end of this year. Banyan Tree, Bangkok, obviously Phuket, Samui. In China, we've got a number of resorts, so we're one of the sort of pioneers to move into China. So you've got a great variety of options there. I think we've got 15 or 20 resorts there already. Throughout Asia, some of the newer ones, Banyan Tree Escape in Busan in Indonesia, in Bali. Langko, so there's another integrated resort in Vietnam, as well as in Bintan, Indonesia. More recently in the Middle East, we've opened a couple of properties. So last year was at Saudi Arabia. I think also just before the World Cup was one in Qatar, in Doha. And there's another one here in Morocco, in Tamuda Bay in North Africa, and there's more coming. And again in the Americas, so we were established in Mexico in Mayacoba, which is a popular beach resort destination near Cancun. In Cabo Marquez, which is Acapulco, and our portfolio continues to expand in the Americas as we have quite a strong presence there, as well as Cuba. So what I'll do now is lead into our sort of property portfolio we have in Laguna Phuket. I'll just play a short video which will give you an idea of the sort of the range of properties that we have here in Laguna Phuket. So as you can see, we've got a comprehensive range from affordable, mid-scale, upscale and luxury, starting from about 200,000 US all the way up to 8 million. So there's a choice for everyone. I think that serves us well as well, because dynamics and markets change over time, but what we aim to do is have something that's available to everybody, because we want to open up Laguna Phuket to a broad community, and people can experience the great facilities and amenities that we have here at a different price point in terms of your property ownership. Now, this is where we start to get onto some of the interesting data points. And I haven't shown them all here, and I'll describe a few to you in a minute. But you can see the outline of Phuket here, Laguna Phuket. We've still got a significant land bank, 1.6 million square metres of land that we haven't unlocked and developed yet. And that would probably achieve, over 1 million square metres of sellable area. That's excluding the common areas and so forth. And that results in a gross development value of $5 billion at today's rates. Now, just to put some context around that, since we launched real estate for sale 25 years ago or whatever, back in the mid-90s, up until 12 months ago, we had sold in total, cumulatively, about $1 billion worth of real estate. What we've launched in the last 12 months, and you saw all those products there, the banyan trees and so forth, within the last 12 months, we've launched 50% in terms of the value, $500 million worth of real estate for sale, and that's what we've currently got for sale. So that's 50% of what we sold in the last 25 or so years. If you compare that to the hotel assets that we own, again, putting it into context, they're worth about $500 million in Laguna Phuket, right? So we've obviously got other assets elsewhere around Thailand, but $500 million is the value of the hotel assets. We've got for sale for real estate at the moment $500 million. And then we've got beyond that another $5 billion to unlock. So I think those are really interesting points that are takeaways. And again, this is what I was saying yesterday. Our real estate side, most people don't know about the significance of the business because it's the hotel and resort side which is famous. And I think, as I mentioned yesterday, we contribute in terms of revenue about 30 to sort of 50% of the group's revenue as well. So that leads us into Laguna Lakelands, which is why we have you all here today, because, actually I'll just go back, because this is our largest and most ambitious project to date. So Lakelands is basically this big area here. So now I'll take you through some of the details of Lakelands and again show you the significance of this project to us as well. So it's obviously our latest and largest project, and it's 1 million square metres or 1 square kilometre. So if you put into context the whole site of Laguna Phuket, which is about 1,000 acres or about 4.5 square kilometres, it's like a town, a little town in itself. And I think, as you would have experienced yesterday when you were driving around, it's quite vast and takes quite a while to get around. Lakelands, I'll go into the amenities and so forth in more detail in a moment, but one of the unique value propositions for this project, because it's not set on the beach, it'll have its own private beach club on the beach for the residents. No other project or development has that in Phuket. So now I'll play you a short video just to introduce you to Lakelands. Then I'll take you through some of the key facts and the amenities and so forth. And then after that, then I think we'll convene, and then you'll actually go to the sales gallery at Lakelands and have a look at some of the show units. So you can see it's connected to Laguna Phuket, so it's integrated as well. This will be the beach club. Okay, so I guess that hopefully gives you a good sort of introduction to Lakelands and a high-level overview. So let me take you through a few more details about the project. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a 1 million square metre site, or 1 square kilometre. The built area will be about 500,000 square metres. There'll be about 6,000 units. But the gross development value from this project alone, at least $2 billion US dollars. Right? And again, we'll have a range of affordable through to luxury products in the project. So there'll be something for everyone, which I'll take you through some of the products in the initial phase of the development in a moment. So as you saw in the short video we just played there, a couple of the unique features are there'll be 5 distinct residential zones: lakeside living, orchard living, lagoon living, forest living, and valley living. So they'll all be themed differently. So they'll be unique and have character for each of those zones. The other important point, and this links into, I guess, the sustainability and preservation of the environment, is we will retain all the natural forest and the lakes that exist there presently. So 30% of the area, or 300,000 square metres, will be retained anyway. Now that doesn't include around the residential precincts all of the botanic gardens and so forth. So this is just the natural component that's being retained, 30%. So when you look at the open spaces in total, it'll be obviously a lot more than 30% because where you have the residential zones, there'll also be common areas there with botanic gardens and so forth. It will be connected with a network of walking and cycling trails that will go around the whole perimeter, around the lagoons, so you can go as far or as little as you like for active recreation or passive recreation, just going and sitting by the lagoon. But in total, there'll be 15 kilometres of trails. So again, for people that are health conscious and wanting to be fit, sometimes it can be quite dangerous running on the roads and so forth here in Phuket because they're relatively narrow and there's lots of cars. Here, it'll be in complete safety. And at the same time, if you just want passive, passive recreation where you want to go and sit down and contemplate and admire nature, you can do that too. Another unique value proposition it'll be Phuket's first country club. So it'll have Olympic pool, ball courts, tennis courts, paddle, I think is one of the current crazes, paddle tennis, sports fields, an indoor sports hall, and a sports barn and bike hub and so forth. So that country club, and I'll get onto this in a minute on the next slide, another unique value proposition for this project, which is different from any other project in terms of those amenities. There'll also be a town centre where it'll contain F&B and retail and entertainment. So it'll be self-contained. So once it's developed, it'll have its own self-contained. So you have convenience stores and so forth where you won't have to wander far. You'll have everything at your doorstep. In the northern part, which we call the Rainforest Park Zone, which is elevated, I think it's about 130 metres high. So from the top, you get good views of Bang Tao Bay. So that will have an adventure park with rock climbing and high ropes courses, and there'll be a visitor centre. There'll be bike courses, hiking trails. Even we're looking at having camping and so forth up there at the top. Maybe open it up to young scouts and so forth so they can experience nature. And as mentioned earlier, a dedicated residents beach club on Bang Tao Beach between Angsana and Dusit. So this is another unique value proposition of Lakelands, which I don't think you'll see anywhere else, which is the integration of the gated estates. All the amenities will be available and open to the public, right? So I think normally with a gated estate, it's just closed off to anybody that's outside. But as we, I guess, have spoken about in one of our sort of ethos with Banyan Group is giving back to the community. So we want those amenities to be available to the community. Now, obviously, the country club, you'll have to pay a membership. But for other places like the walking trails and so forth, the Rainforest Park, you'll be able to walk around. And we'll plan the project in such a way that the residential zones are properly secured so that outside, the outside community can't come in. So there's still that security aspect that exists. But we're really, one of the unique points about this is making the amenities available and opening them up to the broader community, which I think is something that really stands out. And of course, Kunpira yesterday spoke about sustainability and how this is important to us as well. So, we will adopt a lot of those principles in terms of building design. So, for example, we'll be looking at materials that reflect heat and sunlight. And of course, what that does means that you don't need to run air conditioning as much, and that will reduce carbon emissions. Water management, so importantly, in terms of maximising water catchment, we've got 150,000 square metres of lakes there, but maximising water management catchment, retention, and then recycling, so reusing the water. So whether it be through bioswales to capture stormwater, biotypes to filter and clean the water, and then having retention gardens and lakes to act as a storage for the water. Energy efficiency, so we'll be looking to adopt and 5-star efficiency, 5-star rated appliances throughout. Looking at smart home systems as well, where there might be sensors and so forth. So, you can turn things off and on, or it's motion sensor, so it limits the usage. And then finally, in terms of landscape, obviously we want to retain as much of the existing trees and natural features in order to maintain the biodiversity and the ecology. In terms of the product, so this is the first phase, which is called Waterfront Villas and Lakeview Residences. So the villas are down the front there. They're right on the lagoon. Then some mid-scale condominiums with private pools, and then some more affordable condominiums. So this is the first phase of about 300 units. So only the beginning. And I think of these, we've already sold just where we had a soft launch 4 weeks ago. So we haven't gone out. This is the official sort of launch. We've already sold over 50 of these, so almost 20% in the space of 4 weeks. So you can see the vast lagoons. This is this is the lakeside living zone. So the waterfront villas, so the 4 bedrooms, so built area, quite substantial, close to 600 square metres, land area of 700 square metres on average, price point from about 60 million baht or 1.7 million US. The Lakeview Residences, which is a 4-storey. So these will be 2 and 3 bedrooms. Half of them will have their own private pools. Quite substantial in size. So the 2 bedrooms starting from 80 square metres, going all the way up to about 260 square metres. And of course, there'll also be a rooftop communal pool, and a starting price of just under $400,000 for the cheapest unit. The 7-storey condominiums, so these will be targeting the more affordable segment, so they will always also comprise 1 to 3 bedrooms. They won't have private pools, but there'll be a rooftop communal pool, and that's one of the unique features, I think, if you went to Sky Park yesterday, is we don't consume up land, we put the rooftop on the top, and we'll also seek to link up maybe a number of these rooftops, so just like with Sky Park, so then you've got a walking track or a jogging track in the sky. So these are a bit smaller, 50 to 150 square metres in size, and again, starting from a very affordable 200,000 or just under 200,000 US. So I think that's probably enough from me now. I've given you a very good overview of Lakelands and of the project and how important it is and how unique it is. And we really, truly believe it's going to be one of the best projects in the region, and will further create induced demand for people to want to make Phuket their home. So I think I'll stop talking now. My voice is getting a bit hoarse. I think after this you'll go to the Lakeland site. We'll then reconvene for lunch, and then we'll come back here and have some Q&A after lunch. So thank you very much for paying attention. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much, and hopefully you've got some good takeaways from this, and we look forward to seeing you a bit later on. Thank you.